Welcome back to Fasterproms channel. Today we're going to be talking about E85. This is the golden age of performance, and I'm not into all the political BS of why we have E85 and all the carbon credits and all that other junk, but you can actually go to the gas station and buy 106 octane, and if you have a sensor like this that we make at Fasterproms, you can actually have one tune for your car that runs on 93. You can fully run on 93, and you can have this tune that will blend from 50% to 100% alcohol. So from here, let's check out some of the pros and cons of E85. So, one of the most common misconceptions that I get with people that I run into is the fact that people are like, hey, I don't want to run E85 because I'm going to have two different tunes, I'm going to have these different injectors or this different pump and whatever. That's not always the case. So let me clear that up first and foremost. You can have one tune now. You can buy a sensor from GM, and even guys that run Nissans, with the GTR, are running this GM sensor with their aftermarket engine management. But with what I can do with the GM PCM is that I can have one tune that runs all sorts of different blends of alcohol. We can be at one end of the spectrum at 10% pump gas, 93, and then we can be at the E85, full 85% or greater. It's a beautiful thing in the fact that one tune controls both of those. You can literally walk up to the gas station and pump in 106 octane in your car, and within 2 miles of driving, the car has recognized that and it's already adjusting and making changes to the fuel map and the timing map. So with some of the things of what we can do with the E85, there's all sorts of power that can be gained. It varies on the combination, varies on if we're adding boost, it varies on if we're adding timing. So if you have a turbo car and you have the ability to adjust boost on the fly, E85 is probably going to be one of your best friends. It's a lot cheaper than C16, and I've asked a number of other tuners that I've come across, E85 or C16, what do you see the difference? And most guys have come back with about slim to no difference. What you gain in evaporative cooling with the E85 is something that C16 can't necessarily bring to the table, even though it's a higher octane. Another thing is that you're not using twice as much fuel. I've heard that many times. Really, the fact of the matter is, on full E85, you're going to use about 40% more fuel. So 40% is better than 200%. Let's take one car for example here. This is Cooper's 04 CTSV that we had done the dyno tuning on 93. We had some problems with trying to get the flex fuel sensor to work on that processor. We had some help from another tuning shop that happened to come across something that they found a certain operating system that would work. So we ended up changing the DNA of that processor, and we got the flex fuel sensor working. So with this is just the difference of fuel here. So we got about 46 wheel horsepower gain up top. And in certain areas, we picked up 50 pound-feet of torque up right here. So from the bottom, and this is the same exact boost level, this is the fact that we have evaporative cooling and more spark advance. So down low, we're picking up about 45 horsepower and quite a substantial amount of torque, somewhere almost about 70 pound-feet of torque right there. And through the middle, about 43 or so in the middle, and up top, like I said, we got about 46 peak. That is a huge difference on that car. Different cars are going to gain different. So naturally aspirated cars typically are going to pick up a little bit less. And port fuel injection cars are going to pick up less. So let's take a port fuel injection versus a direct injection car. With a port fuel injection, as the mixture is coming through and is at the back of the valve going into the combustion chamber, it is cooling that air charge as it is entering. So you have that benefit on 93 octane. On E85, the benefit is greater because some of the alcohol is cooling down the air charge. But with direct injection, it seems as though you might have a hotter air charge because it doesn't have that time of cooling as it's entering the combustion chamber. The injector is in the combustion chamber, and the benefits seem to be much greater on a naturally aspirated car with direct injection. So as that injector is spraying in there, it picks up a lot more power. So for example, an LS3 car or any naturally aspirated port fuel injection car versus a direct injection car, the direct injection is picking up in excess of about 20 to 30 wheel horsepower is what we've seen very, very consistently. our baseline there. 554, 579. This is a very average setup for a CTSV. We've got a 2.5 pulley, well, it's factory air box, of which I would recommend something different. 850cc injectors, flex fuel sensor. So we're on pump gas right now. 554, 579. That's our start. The 85 we should be able to pick up in excess of 40 horse. There's been times where I've picked up as much as about 67 wheel horsepower. We'll see what she does. Mason! You're doing a good job. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put in about 10 gallons of E85. We're gonna try and raise up the concentration. Usually we'll end up somewhere about, if we got a quarter tank or less, which we do, I think we had about 1/8 of a tank on this guy. And we put 10 gallons of E85, we should be around that 60-65% E85. We'll blend the fuel for a little bit. Usually takes about 2 miles of driving in order to blend the fuel and get that E85 concentration up. So it kind of mixes in the tank, and then we have to consume everything else in the rail. All right, so first pull we got was 586, 599. So we gained about 42 and about 20 pound-feet of torque. Right down there, we're holding about 61%. Still got a bit to iron out. The air fuel mixture will straighten out a little bit, and hopefully we can add a little bit more timing. Oh, damn. Torque is decent, but power's all right.
I love how LSAs always sound like they're having so much fun. Like wee, yeah. Wee. But then turbos are just like, you know, brute.
So on the bottom end of the spectrum, there's some areas that we've picked up 30 pound-feet of torque right there. We'll just take a middle sample right here. So about 34 right there, and about almost 40 right there, and about 42 right there. Not too shabby. The shift points and checking the air-fuel ratio.
Oh!
Just a pretty plain Jane B.
Little,
E85.
yeah. That's pretty crazy. That you can just out the box pretty much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, normally it's like a 12.3 car, and I'm like, all right, guys, 3,500 bucks. We'll turn it into a 10-second car.
Yeah.
It's like walk in, walk out one day. So I want you guys to check out this dynograph right here. This is a direct injection car, which pretty much supports what I was just talking about. We average about 20 pound-feet of torque across the board with this one. This is a naturally aspirated 2015 Corvette automatic, and the car runs low 11s, and just with a stock tire, in fact. So down low, we have about a 23 pound-feet of torque gain. In the middle, about a 20 pound-feet of torque gain and about 18 horsepower. And up top, about a 21 horsepower and about 18 pound-feet of torque. But a very sizable seat-of-the-pants gain on a car that's about 3,400 pounds. You will feel that, and it will show and manifest a good change in ET and mile an hour.
Look at this pretty girl.
All right, so we got our Fasterproms flex fuel sensor in here. We got our expansion tank, thermal plates, 231 pulley, and cold air. We're gonna re-dyno on pump gas and see what she makes. We're gonna throw about 10 gallons of E85 in there and get you guys the results, find out what she does. With 632, 698. This car wants to run a little bit richer, so we're gonna work with that and see what she does on the 85. Gonna put 10 gallons in. Should come up with about a roughly about a 60% E85 blend. Finishing up this 616 Z06 here. Really made me work hard for it. Pretty decent pickups here. We got about 37 peak and about 25, 26 down low on the torque there. Some areas we got about over 30 pound-feet of torque. Once again, about 27, 28, and some of the areas up top here, definitely a nicer pickup there. That's almost 50 right there. This car was a little bit different in the fact that it kind of wanted a rich mixture on the 93, and the beauty of the E85 is that I can run it a little bit leaner on that. One of the other things too is that I can kind of take the averages of these my two last adjustments. I can kind of make the best of those two and make that a better average all the way across. So the red run, it has a nicer average curve to it, even though the blue run has a little bit more of a peak number. But I can kind of blend the results of the two and get a better final overall up top number. Fasterproms flex fuel sensor, heads and cam. I believe we ported the heads on this. This thing should probably do upper 500s is what I'm guessing. We'll see.
My name is Becky, and I like E85.
Alright, so we have a 2016 automatic A8, that's an automatic 8-speed, with full bolt-ons, and we went from 93 to E85. This girl is called Becky. 434 was on 93, 439 torque, and we just put our E85 in there. We got a little bit of a spike, probably a little bit erroneous right there, but nonetheless, 20 pound-feet of torque down there. About 21 down there. 20 horsepower, 19 pound-feet of torque. 20 horsepower, pretty much about 20 horsepower across the board. Very solid gain for naturally aspirated and just a fuel change. And this is only about 50%. We would probably be able to pick up a little bit more with about maybe 70-75%. Not a lot, but maybe about 4 or 5 more. So our 2016 Z06 A8 with the conversion of the E85, we went from 757 to 781 and 787 to 834. That's a little bit of a spike, but we did have a very solid, legitimate pickup of torque down low. It's about 45, about 30 right there, and a little bit less up top. That's a bit unusual. We usually see a little bit more of a gain upstairs. But everything worked out really, really good with the car. It's an absolute monster on the street. I'm up here in Pennsylvania. This is Keith's Pit Stop, and this is Keith's car. 2013 Z06 Carbon Edition, 427. Got carbon fiber everywhere. So this is kind of like a best bang for the dollar, best budget build that you can possibly do. We ported the heads in-house, so Fasterproms ported heads. We have not ported the intake manifold, but that's just a throw that thing on there. It's got a ported throttle body, drop-in filter on the induction right there. I think it's got a thermostat, did some plugs, flex fuel sensor, factory mufflers. We made 591 before, and we're gonna see what she does on this setup here with the new injectors and the higher E85 concentration.
All muscle forward, boy!
All right, we have another 06 Z06 heads and cam, getting ready to put E85 in. So right now, we have made 593, 533. So you can see that good. 593, 533.
We'll put that in first.
We'll see what she does here with the E85. We're putting in actually 5 gallons of E98, and that is going to, it won't take like the 10 gallons of E85. That's just a more potent fuel because it's E98. All right, check out our final numbers here on the E85 versus the pump gas on this heads cam 427. Went from almost 594 to about 603, and torque went up about 11. Some areas will pick up a little bit more. There's about 13 pound-feet of torque right there. Air fuel is very, very close, about the same. Some areas underneath the curve right there. That's a nice pickup there. That's about 17 horsepower. About 15 pound-feet of torque. That's kind of what you'd normally see, is a smaller gain up top, smaller gain on the bottom, but the mid-range kind of has that kind of moon shape, like a sliver gain in the middle there. If this is your first time checking out Fasterproms channel, please check out some of our previous videos. We got a lot of goofy stuff in there, and I got so much information to share. I get all geeked out with this technical stuff, so hopefully you guys dig it. Thank you for watching. God bless you guys. Bye.